make peace with the kind of traveler that you are because you have to set yourself up for some disappointment. You can plan, 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 plan. And if you think it's all going to go as planned, you will be pleasantly surprised or devastated. So make peace with the fact that things might be chaotic. That will ease your nervous system a lot more when things don't go to plan. Today's episode is all about how to reset your nervous system when you are traveling with little humans. It's all about the resiliency at this point. Sometimes, if my nervous system requires that, I will make a pact with my partner and say, hey, can you grab the kids? Because I really, can I have that? And I will do the same for you. Can we switch off? So we'll make that agreement ahead of time. Hey, what do you need to do? Or do you need 30 minutes to go to the gym or to walk around by yourself, etc.? So take what you need. In this episode, I will attempt to share my 10 tips for you to help you take care of your nervous system when traveling with young children. And I'm saying 10 and under. You have to make decisions for the greater good of the entire family. You're making new memories, and be okay with the fact that sometimes when you make the plans, it might all go down the hill anyways. If you are new, this is a very juicy, spicy, amazing episode. And I've been asked this quite a bit recently as we've been planning our travels abroad, our family vacation, our annual trip to Europe. Many of you know, for those of you who are just joining in, this is a very juicy episode, and this is your destination, your oasis, to learn more about discomfort and how to swim with discomfort, especially if you are a mama, especially if you are a parent of littles, or maybe you have been summoned to watch this because you're going on a trip coming up. And today's episode is all about how to reset your nervous system when you are traveling with little humans. And I have to say, in my time throughout the last 3 years of our daughter being a baby, she literally just turned 3, and we have been on several trips with her. She has been, at the time of this recording, she would have already been to 8 countries, and my son 11 countries. And we have done travel like this for pretty much, since they've been alive. I know that COVID obviously stopped us, or with my son, for a little bit. And in this episode, I will attempt to share my 10 tips for you to help you take care of your nervous system when traveling with young children. And I'm saying 10 and under. And I think the first thing that you have to reconcile with, because I meet moms all the time and they are like, wow, that's bold. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, I don't think I could do that. And you know what? Over the years, I've actually thought to myself that, yeah, I am a little crazy. I'm not one to, sit at home. And it's okay if you do that. It's okay if you have all of these tools and arts and crafts and Pinterest boards and things like that you do with your kids. I'm just not that. I'd rather kind of get muddy, get dirty, find the splash pads, if we're the place that we live currently right now, it gets really, really warm in the summer, and it's not the best to be outside in the sun all day long unless you're going to the water. And we're not, where we live, there's not really much of a beach. So we do tend to look for beach vacations if we can. So you have to see what kind of traveler you are, because I know for my partner and my husband, Ajit, and we have very big differences in the way we travel. So I'm okay with the chaos. Hi, I wrote a book called That Sucked Now What? How to Embrace the Magic in the Messy Moments and embrace sometimes the chaos that comes with it. And I'm okay with that. I tend to thrive better in chaos. That's how my nervous system has been built. Now, if you are not one of those, if you are like my husband, who he's like, oh my gosh, everything needs to be structured, organized, etc. So this will be a play. And if your spouse told you to watch this or listen to this on YouTube, there will be a test to say, okay, first we have to ask ourselves, how is our nervous system okay with the lack of control? because you can plan so much to a T. And I know that for this year, we've planned the trip to Portugal, and this was our big family trip. We usually go to Estonia. We have a huge event there every year, literally for the last, now I want to say maybe 6 years, maybe even 7. And we usually are in Europe. And there have been times where we've had, things lost from luggage, or we have so many things because when the kids were really little, when my daughter was really little, you had the baby bottles, the nappies, the extra change of clothes, the bags upon bags, if there's a poop explosion and if there is, something happening on the plane, because of course it happens. So you had to plan for each and every little thing while within the confines of making sure you're not going to lose things. The first thing that I want to share is for your own nervous system, make peace with the kind of traveler that you are, because you have to set yourself up for some disappointment. Set yourself up for disappointment. Number one, it's not going to go as planned. You can plan, 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 plan. And if you think it's all going to go as planned, you will be pleasantly surprised or devastated if you lose something, if you forgot something. I remember we bought some really amazing piece of art and we rolled it up. And because the stroller was more important, we had put the stroller in the, overhead bins, and we forgot the art. And I couldn't get over myself for like weeks after that. And I'm like, how could I be so dumb? And how could I knew it. And so make peace with the fact that things might be chaotic. All right. That's the first thing. And because that will ease your nervous system a lot more when things don't go to plan. You will miss train stops and stations and bus timings. You might wake up late. The kids might be up later, etc. Embrace it. So that is the first thing that I want to start with. Many times it's either one or the other, parent or friend. If you're traveling with friends, I traveled with one of my besties with my kids because my husband doesn't really like beach vacays. He does not like it at all. And so we've made this pact that I would go with either my bua, my relative, the kid's nanny, or one of my besties who loves beaches. And when we go on the beach, we have all of these toys, and the toys get sandy and it's dirty and it can be, grimy. And if you didn't grow up, I grew up on a beach. So if you didn't grow up that way, you will have less grit about having sand and things in the house. Mamas, you know what I'm talking about. My husband is the opposite. If he feels that, it literally spirals his nervous system. Can't have it. So I had to look into all of the ways. Baby powder is one of them. So you get that baby powder, which is really, in my opinion, toxic. So you don't want to put it on them, but you put it on to kind of remove all of the sandy stuff if you are going to go to beachy areas. Tip, hack. All right. Number 2. So you might like routine, and you might say, all right, in the mornings, you're going to go to this vacation spot. Maybe you're at a resort, or maybe you are in a, busy town or a tiny little town and you're exploring the town. So you might want to go to the main bakery shop or coffee shop to get the kids breakfast in the morning. That's typically what we do. We'll find the nearest brekkie shop if we're at a hotel, we'll go downstairs where they serve breakfast because, when they get hangry, they get hangry. So that is the routine for us. In the mornings, we will go, and it's a thing, and we'll go straight to breakfast so that they are fed, and then we'll go do our walk around. Usually I like to do something different. I'd like to take my coffee and take myself out on a stroll and walk the streets or walk the beach or whatever and get my own rejuvenation time. Now with kids, well, we have to change it a little bit. And sometimes if my nervous system requires that, I will make a pact with my partner and say, hey, can you grab the kids? Because I really, can I have that? And I will do the same for you. Can we switch off? So we'll make that agreement ahead of time. Hey, what do you need to do? Or do you need 30 minutes to go to the gym or to walk around by yourself, etc.? So take what you need. However, if you're very keen on schedule, like nap times are non-negotiable, independent play is non-negotiable, you have your schedule, throw it out the window. Yes, I know I'm going to trigger moms out there. I'm going to trigger them big and hard. throw the schedule out the window. You can have certain routine. However, especially if you're going in different time zones, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different time zones, it's all about the resiliency at this point. Some of the things that have helped with our kids, talk to your pediatrician. Again, this has just worked for our family specifically. If we are going to Europe or another part of the world, we will take there's soothing tablets and melatonin for kids, and that helps us all get rest, because what's worse than having really cranky, not able to sleep, or up in the middle of the night children, where again, if we're trying to take care of our nervous system, that is huge. Melatonin is a big savior. I know some people use Benadryl. That doesn't really work for our family. And supportive magnesium. We have this magnesium is really calming and soothing, and we have the Sleepy Time by, I think it's Sleep Organics, but it's a lotion. It's super creamy. It's organic, and it has magnesium. I've been using it for the kids on their feet, and they have a travel version. It is the best thing. It's actually great for adults too, but that's the one mineral that we're all deficient in, and magnesium soothes our nervous system. It helps with regulating sleep. It helps with just calming ourselves. That, and I also do castor oil in their belly button just to make sure that they are getting rest. Castor oil packs are great for even our adult nervous system. More on that later. Number 3, plan for being late for everything. So if you are typically late, like myself, to everything, including airports, trains, etc., with kids, we just have to surrender and be okay that, okay, if we miss this one, if we wake up late, if someone's not having a good morning, because we all know that sometimes the kids will just either somebody's going to have a meltdown, or someone's not going to want to put their shoes on, or someone's just going to wear PJs all day or the same clothes for the 3 days. You have to make decisions for the greater good of the entire family. So if somebody still wants to be in their PJs, I always have an extra change of clothes. So in case they change their mind and we are having a power struggle, that it's all good. I'm going to release that. We're going to pack a set of clothes. If you feel like you want to change your clothes, that is fine. We've been in London, we've been in Croatia, we've been in Estonia, where the European kids, they dress really posh and proper and they're matching and all of those things. I've let that stuff go. I honestly have, for the sake of my nervous system, because my nervous system will thank me, and then we'll have more of a harmonious time. And if they want to change, then they'll change. And usually 90% of the time they do change their clothes. So number 3, plan on being late for everything. And if possible, buffer in 20 minutes extra. I mean, this is obvious. However, we forget that you're obviously on vacation anyways, right? And I know that many times it's so easy because the way you both traveled together, or when you traveled sans kids before, it's so different now. And I hope we all know that. We appreciate that. We get that. We've made peace with that. We've grieved that loss, that when you're going to go to another place, let's say a big city now, and when you went to the big city before kids, it's so different. You could walk throughout the whole day, and now you're going back there again with kids. You might not see everything. You might just go to 2 things. You might just spend the whole day at the park, but you're making new memories. And be okay with the fact that sometimes when you make the plans, it might all go down the hill anyways, because you might be late or somebody might not be into it. And that is okay. Surrender. Again, number 1, surrender to the chaos. Number 4, I can't say this enough. Plan your nervous system properly. Embrace the fact that there will be more meltdowns. There will be meltdowns about everything. Their nervous systems and their brains aren't calibrated. They're in a different environment. While kids are very resilient, they don't have the comforts of home. And of course, you all want to see things and do things and have a big agenda. Try to space things out. I know that sometimes for the greater good of the family, I'm like, oh my gosh, it'd be so cool to do this park. And then we'll go to this park. And then we'll go to this park. And my husband's the opposite. He's like, absolutely not. We are going to go to one thing and one thing. And for me, I'm like, no, but we're here for only like 2 days. Let's just see everything. Well, now I know I have to calibrate to his nervous system and to the kids' nervous system. Now they're a little bit older. Things are different. However, we got to go with the one that has the least amount of resources, if you know what I mean. You have to meet everyone where they're at. And if the person with the least amount of reservoir is a non-negotiable, then for the sake of everyone's nervous system, for the greater good of your family unit, then perhaps maybe you'll have to let that go. And I hope that makes sense. And I'm not saying more meltdowns with just the kids, the adults too. The adults will have that as well, which is why it's so important to communicate. Hey, what do you need right now? What do you need? Do you need space? Do you need to go back to the hotel room? Do you need to go back to the Airbnb? Why don't we just plan to just be around our radius of a block, or stay in the resort, or stay in the hotel, etc. Pay attention to the cues, because while it's so fun to plan out the adventure, and planning the adventure, I know research shows that the planning of it brings us the most joy. When we are in it, there is all sorts of mishaps, etc., and things that can happen. So train your brain to say, all right, well, that sucked. Now what? That sucked. Now what? I've literally shared this on stages. And when people lose their luggages, or people, something happens where their Airbnb, they get kicked out, they have to change rooms, something smells in their rooms, they're like, that sucked. Now what? We're going to roll with it. So I'm giving you this mantra too. That sucked. Now what? Number 5, surrender to the screens if it supports your nervous system. I know my kids have been trained now since they were very, very young that screens are okay when we are traveling. And here's what I mean by this. On the airplane, I'd much rather have them glued to their screens. And yeah, we pack the stickers, we pack the painting books, we pack the coloring books. But I also want to make sure that we are packing lean and light for our own sake of our nervous system, that we're not bringing a lot of things along. And that I will get the diapers there if I need to, or I'll get X amount of, I have my non-negotiables, but if I need to grab a sweater where we're traveling, fine. I won't overpack like I used to. And I will make sure that if it's the screens that help with the nervous system, I'm not going to fight about their screen time. That is something that I've made peace with. Hit me up in the comments. I'd rather have a regulated nervous system for myself and allow them to have at it. And when we are wherever we are, the only other time this happens is when we are at restaurants. And yeah, people look, and sometimes it is the battle of the screens. And so you want to see what works out for you. Okay. I don't have a full solution for it. I just know that when we are on the plane, I'd rather, for the whole benefit of the entire greater good of everybody on that plane, I'd rather have them watch the screens. And if they play with other things, my daughter can't really sit with screens for a long time. She's 3. And so she likes to play with her dolls, or, we have like this, we got this busy board off of Amazon, and that's been so helpful. But she likes to do different things on the flight than my son. He could just keep watching screens the whole time, as long as it's his favorite show. So figure out what that means for you, but also your nervous system, and then the collective unit of who you're traveling with. Number 6, the restaurant people will look at you, and that is okay. Whenever we've traveled to Europe, it's something like, I don't know how the Europeans, they raise their kids, but obviously they're doing something different than I am, because their kids are the most well-behaved. They're just sitting. They are just there. It's the complete opposite of my children. And I am okay with it. I'm okay with it. My kids run around. We're in a square or a piazza, and they are just making circles. And I'm like, great. It does not bother me. Now, it would bother my elderly nani or dadi. They would try to be like, shh, 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 And so they'll shush them, and they'll scold them, and they will yell at them. And that's like a different way of our parenting styles. You have to see, again, what's good for your nervous system. Obviously, if they're going to run in the street, or if they are being ruckus or disruptive, but usually we'll pick places where it's next to a playground or it's outside, usually, not always. And if I need to, I will surrender to the screen if I need to, right? We can pack for all of the other extra fidgety toys and the other gadgets that they can do. But if you're trying to also have a meal, well, again, Number 5, surrender to the screens if it supports your nervous system and if it allows you at the end of a really long day of sightseeing and other crazy things that happen. We all need a break at times. We all need a break. Give yourself that break. Okay. So that was number 6. Restaurant folk will look at you. They might judge your kids. They might look at you because your kids are different than their kids. I know we would get a ton of looks, and I'm okay with that. I am totally okay with that. Number 7, plan to lose things. I already shared my beautiful art story in the past, but you have to be unattached because it's all right if she lost the Lego toy that you brought because you thought that it was going to save them and give them grace for the whole time that you were on the trip. Let it go. Get another one. Or they lost their favorite toy. That's a big one. We have to practice the art of unattachment here. I know that Ajit and I, we would get into the most conflict and arguments because I would be like, oh my gosh, but I can't believe we lost it. And he'd be like, yeah, well, this is what happens now. It just happened. So allow yourself to grieve and process that, but be unattached. It goes towards the cost of the trip. And that's how we've baked it in. Now, number 8, take turns to reset yourself with your partner and or friends. This is a big one because we have to be able to ask and claim our desires, needs, and wants. Nobody is going to read your mind. No one's going to read your mind if your nervous system is feeling big, hot, heavy, that you need space. Sometimes we feel resentful if one parent's doing more than the other. Sometimes you are the preferred parent, so the kids are going to jump on you, etc., especially if you are working a lot or if you don't have that much time with the kids. And so it is exhausting for that preferred parent. Step in, let them know, have them take a break, especially if there's one person that's going to be more about claiming their own needs and desires and the other one is not as privy to that or feels bad or feels guilty of being able to appropriately claim and ask for what they need and what they want and what they desire and how they're actually feeling. I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. I'm going to need 5 minutes. I'm going to need you to watch the kids while I go to the gym. That is claiming a need. That's claiming a desire. It's claiming your feelings. Play that game. That is huge. That is number 8. Take your solo time, even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's down the street, even if it's somewhere else in the museum, take that time because that is your nervous system will thank you. All right, number 9, play the reframe game, play the redo game when emotions get high, and they will. So, you're unresourced, you all went to bed really late. The kids, of course, are so excited. So they wake up at 6 a.m. You guys went to bed at midnight the night before and you are exhausted. Your feet are hurting, etc. You are just depleted and you start yelling at the kids or even your partner. You can quickly change it. We play the redo game. So it's like, let's rewind this and I'm going to redo this. Okay. Is it okay if I redo this with you right now? Mama didn't mean to yell at you. Mama's just feeling under-resourced right now. And you can play the redo game. And usually they love the redo game because then it's, you make your sounds of rewind. Okay. And then we're going to try this again. I do this with my partner too and see if this works for you. But the kids love it. And even my partner and I, we get a chance to redo. We get a chance to rewind because guess what? We caught it and we're going to repair it and we're going to fix it. And we're going to get a chance to redo. And when you redo and repair in the moment, you're also changing your brainwave of how to respond when you are not regulated so that you can regulate and come back to a sense of calm. All right. So this is so good and juicy. I really want to know what you all think. Let me know in the comments. And finally, number 10, note what will calm everyone's nervous system. This is huge. And take notes on everyone because everyone has their own being, their own soul, their own things that trigger them and what their needs, wants, and desires are and what their feelings are. So this is a game of practice. We don't get it right 100% of the time, but we're going for that 80%. Now, have so much fun on your trips. Let me know where you're going. If this is the first time that you are watching this, listening to this, subscribe. Hit the like button, hit the follow button if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes. We so appreciate it. And if this could help a friend of yours, a bestie of yours, a girlfriend of yours, a colleague of yours, do let us know in the comments below. I would so love to hear from you. And if you haven't already submitted your 5-star review, what are you waiting for? I would so appreciate it and love if you could just send us how you are feeling, how this is helping you in your life somehow, and screenshot that review to support@globalgrit.co. That is support@globalgrit.co. And we are giving away prizes this month to celebrate you. Thank you so much. Tag us at the Brave Table at Neeta Bhushan. I want to know where you're going with your kiddos, and I hope these tips help. Let me know if there's anything that you would add, if I missed anything, in the comments below. Thank you so much. And don't forget to be just a little bit more brave.